Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How are you? What the hell is happening? Why aren't you with us? Right here at the West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica, California. Go to their website and check out all the shows coming up, westsidecomedy.com. And write to us, don't forget, at kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. What was that? kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. Thank you for asking. You can turn that up, by the way. That's helpful. We've been away a bit. I was in Hotlanta. That's the sound of our guest dying. Oh. I was in Hotlanta on this Jason Reitman motion picture, still in the business. I know, hard to believe. Called The Front Runner, about the fall of Gary Hart. Believe it or not, there was a time when the press did not follow around a presidential candidate, nor was he tweeting. And Gary Hart was patient zero. But maybe you should know better before getting on a ship called Monkey Business. Maybe that crosses your mind as a married man. Maybe that's not the little boat.
It's a whimsical name.
It is a whimsical name. Who doesn't want to be involved in monkey business, by the way?
It can be quite lucrative.
It was the blurst of times.
That's 100 monkeys working on 100 typewriters to write the world's greatest novel.
Yeah, Simpsons. There'll be a good thing for today's guest. He's not only a Simpsons fan, but
he's been on twice.
Yeah.
Twice, I think.
Thrice, and also I think directed an episode. Well, we'll ask him. Jamie, how are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Corey's here.
You were at Corey Levin, yes, sitting in for Sam
Not
Levine.
Sam.
Slightly different spelling.
Just go with not Sam. I think we're going to go with.
Not Sam?
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh no, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
You said it.
Once it came out of my mouth, I realized it was.
I walked into a minefield.
Not Sam Levine is fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Corey, for sitting in for Sam.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate you being here. Jamie and I went to a show last night in Hollywood, California. Saturday night on the Halloween weekend, great time to be on the road. Just a lot of. What were we looking for last night on the streets?
I said whores on parade. I didn't really see many. I only saw like a handful. I was a little disappointed.
Where was the slutty
They're not
bee?
even no, that's the thing. Like they're not even costumes now. It's just like I put on these spandex hot pants and a bra, and I don't even know what I am.
Right.
It's just like
I'm just looking.
They're not
for
even
dick.
Think anymore.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just gonna put on underwear.
That's right. And little bags looking not for candy, but penises. I think that's what they're looking for. Recent guests, you wonder: Bryan Cranston, Michaela Watkins, Billy Bob Thornton, Christopher Guest, Lauren Graham, J.K. Simmons, just to drop a few names. What was that? Upcoming guests: the wonderful and vivacious Edgar Wright, Pamela Adlon, and from Zach Galifianakis' show Baskets, the hilarious and purposely stiff Martha Kelly. Love her so much. Oh my God, I can't wait for that. That's next Sunday, actually. All right, let's not put this off any longer. We've threatened for so long that the real joke would have been to not have him here. So that would have been, and it was close last night, touch and go, when we went to see the show. Please welcome Ricky Gervais. How are you?
Hello, thank you.
Let's get it out of the way that you are not just under the weather, but it's a bronchial thing, which is the worst for a performer.
I've had this thing for like 3 days. Last night I did a show, and I was drugged up and taking cough medicine and what I thought was Dayquil, and then an hour before I went on, I looked, and I've been taking NyQuil. So that was scary. That was like a really a tingle down my spine. I called Jane. I said, "What do I do?" She went, "It should be okay. It's okay." It's only and I started. I'm already hypochondriac anyway. But when I am ill, I'm twice as ill because I'm ill when I'm not ill.
Sure. So
I was ill, and I'm thinking I felt nauseous, and I thought I'm going to faint, and I somehow got it through.
Somehow, yeah. I was wondering if hitting the extra large can of Foster's was helping.
Well, I think everything being the same helps. I don't want to suddenly stop drinking because I'm ill. I've never done that. I don't see why breweries have to suffer because I'm ill. It's not their fault. Why am I punishing them because I'm ill?
A lot of people take. You're a giver.
Yeah. So I've got some sort of bronchial flu thing, and but I'm drugged up now. So I think it's good to explain it in case I start choking. I woke up this morning. Honestly, it was like something from Victorian times. I was just coughing I thought I was
right to
going
the
to
iron
die.
lung.
I know, yeah. But I didn't understand anything you said in that.
In the opening?
I didn't understand anything.
Okay. Well,
which is a good start.
Look,
I don't know if that was because I'm ill or you were talking nonsense. Didn't understand anything.
Which part?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I can't remember. 'Cause
Okay.
It didn't mean anything to me.
How about this? We got the whinging out of the way.
The whinging, yeah.
Which is a word I learned from listening to the original podcast. I didn't know what whinging was.
Whinging is an English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes from.
It just means everything's crap. Everything's
complaining.
Complaining.
Yeah.
Pessimism.
So not just Jews.
It's gonna rain.
Not just Jewish.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's British proper to be whinging also.
Who came first, the Jews or the Brits? The Jews are older than Brits, aren't they?
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
Who invented whinging?
Definitely Jews.
Someone knows this.
Definitely Jews. British invented the word.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah.
We had the act.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We couldn't give it a name. We were enjoying it so much. So today is also, I forgot to mention in the opening, my last day of my 50s.
Right.
You talked in the show last night about aging, I think for the first time in your act.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I don't remember, and it wasn't whinging, it was,
my last stand-up, I was 49, which seems a bit premature to start whinging about age, even though I felt middle-aged from about 35. I sort of embraced that because I've always been lazy, so I thought I'm old enough now to say it's age.
Yeah.
Whereas I never liked noisy pubs. I always wanted a seat. So I took advantage. But I think 56 you can legitimately talk about aging.
Yes.
I think you're allowed.
Yeah, I think in your 50s. I remember the thing that always annoyed me about people in their 20s was that whenever they would say, I remember, and I would say, no, you don't. No one cares. You don't remember anything.
But from a comedic point of view as well, that's a big plus for a comedian because it should be about complaining and keeping your low status. And a 21-year-old comes out and complains about the world, and I'm going, fuck off, you've got hair.
Plenty of it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a hat.
I can't hear a 20-year-old whinge about being. Shut the. It just allows. I think it helps. And that's an interesting point as well about being low status because I sort of embrace the fact the audience know I'm doing okay. Traditionally, to be a comedian, you were a fool. You were low status. You could say anything you wanted because you were lower status than the audience.
Right.
Whereas I can't do that. I can't really pretend that I'm having a bad time financially or,
Steve Martin was the first one I remember who went on stage and while playing a buffoon also was playing I'm wildly successul.
Well, I do that ironically, and I get my status back in two ways. I invite them in and let them know what you think it's fun flying private jets or meeting the Queen. Listen to what happened to me.
Right.
It's all crazy, and I shouldn't be there. So I do it like that. I shouldn't be there. I always play the guy. I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be in this house. I shouldn't be living in Hampstead. I shouldn't have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other way I do it is, I let them know they're better off than me in many ways because they are 21 and I'm going to die soon.
That's right.
So I get my low status, but don't feel sorry for me. If anything, that's the way I do it.
And it's good that you're playing. I can't believe this is happening to me because most of the audience is thinking it. So we were at your sold out performance last night. And
I also think it's a testament to what a great guy I am that I'm still willing to do this.
If I hadn't made the first shot over the bow.
Oh yeah, you started.
I might have avoided any and all of that. Last night was truly hilarious and often painfully honest while being deeply funny, which I did because we saw you last time you came through. It's like meeting the Queen afterwards. Just show business just lined up afterwards. That was the briefest time and the first time we met for like 90 seconds. Everyone got 90 seconds with you when you came through and played the same theater.
No, you've told me before, and I don't remember that.
Of course you don't, because there were 75 people lined up to kiss the ring. It was unbelievable. So each one of us got 9 seconds, and the only way I made you laugh was you were doing the Hitler meets Nietzsche.
Oh, right.
And you did this on the lectern.
That's right.
And when I pointed it, I said, you reduced Hitler to this.
That's when it started working.
And you said that's when it started working.
Well, so I had this bit, one of the first bits in my one of my first specials, and I'd read that Hitler had been influenced by Nietzsche, right? Which is obviously no fault of Nietzsche. He took it the wrong way. Like all men, some men are more equal than others, that sort of thing. And he took it. So I do that thing, and I imagine that Hitler calls Nietzsche for a meeting. And he goes, "I love your book. You know, Man and Superman. Not everyone's equal. Kill all the Jews." Nietzsche goes, "So I kill all the," right? And it's a misunderstanding. And Nietzsche goes, "You haven't been killing Jews, have you?" And Hitler goes, and then I did that, right? Play out, really, it went okay. And then when I put Hitler on the back foot being told off, it took off. When he goes, "How many have you killed?" 6 million. And suddenly Hitler being told off.
Right. You made Hitler a victim.
And that's when I think that stand-up, you can elevate it beyond just its words when you start acting it out, because it's suddenly, it's like you've animated the words.
Yeah.
Because the words, I mean, there's a scale of performers. Some performers are as good with the sound down. Some performers are as good with your eyes shut.
Right.
And you sort of want to be in the middle. You want the words to count, but you also want the body language to add to it. And
100%.
And I'm not a big fan of just semantics and syntax. I'm not a fan of a joke that works well if you read it as well as that comedian doing it. I want that comedian to be able to do it better than I can.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And animating it is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing it to life.
And I started like most people. I felt it was almost cheating because it seemed too easy and it's too good by personifying animals. That was the first routine I ever wrote. But just giving an animal human aspects and thoughts, and which we know deep down they don't have, right? The way we do, and trivializing them, and that was my first bit of stand-up and it was actually deconstructing how awful the early internet was, because my first bit I did about maybe, I don't know, 2002, and it was about how it wasn't regulated and everyone go on there and do their facts, and they weren't facts, they were just people's opinions. So people would put these spurious facts on, like mountain goats butt heads so hard that their hooves fall off. I said, that's not a fact. It's not a fact, is it? And so, but it gave me an excuse to act it out, and act out the goats going, you're still on? Yeah, I grip. You know, so it was just like an animal conning another animal was funny. Right. You know. Yeah. So I love that. I love that sort of bringing it to life, not just saying it.
Yeah, there were animals acted out last night, I want to think. Well, first of all,
the dogs
you
were
was
the dogs.
chimp, but it was the dog.
Oh, the chimp, yeah. No.
The chimp and the dogs getting their duties.
The dogs getting their duties.
Yeah, their jobs.
But again, you don't write that stuff.
Right.
You write that stuff in your head, and then the first time you do it, you do the stuff.
Right.
And you're not even. I'm not thinking I'm going to do that chimp or I'm going to do that with a dog. You do it because that's you. If you're an expressive person and you act it out, right. and it just brings it to life. For
Which one has to hunt the lions?
The Rhodesian Ridgeback.
His response to being assigned that is just. Sorry, what?
What? You're hunting lions. Yeah, I just thought it would just again the sleight of hand there is that a dog knows what it's being bred to do. So
right.
Course, yeah. So it must have been a shock to it when it found out you were hunting lions. Well. Yeah, it's not happy with it. It's not happy with this.
Also, that it would take on the human characteristic of thinking you might have been mistaken.
Yeah, of course.
When you said,
of course, it laughed. It laughed. Goes, no, seriously, like, what? Yeah,
yeah.
And then passing the buck. Why can't the Rottweilers hunt lions? They're shaking babies.
They're shaking babies, and also just blowing past that and not spending any time talking about what you're actually talking about. So you do address the aging thing and one particular aspect of aging that comes to mind. And then you also spent a good deal of time talking about your life on Twitter, which, authentically could have its own show at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that again, that's it's a means to an end, because I don't get overtly political, particularly not party political. In fact, I think more than in LA than any other place, they thought I was going to go there when I said the world's slightly worse for the last couple of years, and it was and I don't go, and I don't go there because I talk about it. I talk about things implicitly, but not party political. So I talk about stupidity versus smarts, and I talk about irrational versus rational. I don't, and I also think there isn't really party politics anymore because no one looks at the argument, they just look at who's saying it, and it's fallen into two tribes, so it doesn't count. It doesn't count to go after Trump. It almost doesn't count because, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I don't blame everyone else for here. It is you can't legislate against that. It's impossible. So
it's also like talking to a drunk.
Yeah,
at this point,
it's
we're past logic.
Yeah,
we've driven way past a logical conversation.
I've sort of given up. Even the tweets aren't funny anymore because they're only as bad as the one before. It's like, so what? I'm desensitized now to
this. That's maybe the most startling part.
Well, yeah, a year ago, think of any other president tweeting anything he's tweeted. You'd go, that's a bit weird. He's going after Meryl Streep. You know what I mean?
That phony baloney.
Yeah. Last week he was in a fight with a prisoner of war with brain cancer and a war widow that was 6 months pregnant. That was the two people he was fighting last.
It's in its own way perfect.
Yeah. So I don't go there in comedy as much as I do now, or on Twitter, or even just like a normal person. I am political, I suppose. Yeah. I never was till last year. But now I am fascinated with politics, what's happened in the last year. But I keep it out of the show and comedy in general because I think if you're relying on the audience agreeing with you, you're losing something comedically. That's rallying. I don't like it from the other side, and I don't like it from my side or whatever side. It's cheating.
Yeah,
it's cheating. It's
yeah. I mean, you are separating your audience members.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already doing that, separating them from those who've been raped and those who haven't been. So why bring politics?
Sounds great out of context, this. Sounds brilliant. Sounds perfect. It's 90 minutes of nuanced comedy building up to that.
Yeah, it is really the worst reduction possible.
People turning off.
Yeah. I love how that comes through in a review, that they will take 19 minutes build up of nuance
that's the thing, isn't it? That it is bigger than the sum of its parts, and everything's contextual. And I keep dropping these things to make them think the ways, and I set them up for these things. I warn them I'm going to say something that's really offensive, and and then and they're ready for it, and then they accept it because they know what I'm doing because I've warned them. It's not coming out of the blue. I'm not being sort of crass or trying to shock.
Not at all. And that's
or trying to offend. Yeah. It is a discussion, and it does need that time to do it. And any one of those jokes or routines or punchlines out of context would look horrendous because they haven't seen the build-up and what I'm doing. They haven't been primed. I'm telling them how to think. I'm taking them on a journey. Yeah. And it's, you wouldn't show someone a scene from a film and expect to know what's going on. And there is a narrative because there's a build-up to it, and that's important as well.
Yeah. What I love about the time you spend talking about tweets and what people have said to you and how you've responded, and also the runner through the show, which is I should have left it. I should leave it.
And I should have left it.
Should have left it. Right.
And of course that's a double-edged sword as well, because even though it looks like I'm winning an argument on Twitter, I'm losing because they've brought me down.
You've engaged.
I've engaged. They've brought me down. I'm the real loser. It's getting to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm in a mansion and they're in a bin and they've won because I want to slam them. Do you know what I mean?
Just want to write down.
Yeah. It's like getting angry at some dying tramp shouting at you, and you're going, "What have you ever done?"
And by the way,
you've lost. You've already lost.
Yeah, and that person in the bin, British translation to American, trash can.
Yeah.
Would have a cell phone. Absolutely.
Well, again,
the homeless guy that comes up to me.
The bin is metaphorical.
Oh yes. Jesus. You do have a particular bit of fun with one tweet from a rather serious Christian fella who wrote to you regarding the laugh he'll have when you're in hell. That whole section is spectacular because of various reasons, but my personal favorite was that he would have to find himself there in order to have the
Well,
laugh.
it's someone saying that they can't wait, because I'm an atheist, they can't wait for me to be being raped in hell and he'll be laughing. And so, and when you start off with a crazy premise,
Raped by
the Satan, yeah, right. So when you start with a crazy premise, the more you deconstruct it, the funnier it is.
Right.
Because it's crazy is crazy, built crazy on crazy. So he's this angry person coming from this point of view and there's nothing like the truth. I mean, when I got that tweet, I couldn't believe my luck. Honestly, I saw dollar signs. Like, this is 10 minutes. This is at least 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Acting out all the pieces.
It's like cheating. It's like, wow. This man has just tweeted me thousands of dollars.
Which,
do you know what I mean?
Yes. Which is why you do need to engage sometimes to see, for the bit's sake.
Of course.
Yeah. What is the life of this?
Oh, now I go looking for it. I don't get trolled. I don't get trolled on Twitter. Really, I have to look for them. I get one juicy idiot a month. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, there is real trolling on Twitter, and the misogyny on Twitter is it's off.
Oh my!
There's psychopaths out there, but only because they're anonymous.
Right.
They're probably not doing bad things because they're terrified, living in a bin, and you know, I do embrace this madness. I watch reality shows and I embrace that because of, you know, it gave me The Office and Extras and all those things, and it is a guilty pleasure. And same as Twitter, and there are mad people on Twitter, but there are mad people on the high street, and we've got to go there. So
yeah.
It is what you make it. It's just another form of communication.
Well, 20 years ago, long before the internet, you would hear the phrase, opinions like assholes, everyone's got one and they all stink. And it didn't mean anything in terms of, I don't have to hear everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
And that is the unfortunate cancer of Twitter.
But it's still other choice, because it is like reading every toilet wall in the world at once.
Right.
But it's your choice to do that. They're virtual. They don't exist if you don't turn on your phone. So you know,
until you engage.
Until you engage, yeah. And again, there's good and bad in that. It doesn't really matter, you know.
There's great fun in just retweeting the most horrendous thing possible and letting all your followers go after that person.
Well, again, it depends, because sometimes people make a mistake, and I don't want to. Sometimes they are mental, fucking evil assholes, right? And you fuck you idiot, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even want to give them that, because the number of times I've retweeted them, slammed that, and then they go, I can't believe I got retweeted by Ricky Gervais. I go, what? You're a fan? You just wanted to get attention, and that's really confusing, because people now would rather be known as a fucking idiot than not known at all.
That's right.
And I don't get it, and I think, and then I'm confused. I think, well, they said something. They didn't mean it because they wanted my attention. That's really sad.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. So now I usually ignore them. But something like that tweet is just too good to ignore. But it is a minefield. You have to know which ones to retweet, which ones to ignore, which ones to block, and that's
my favorite part of the animation within that hunk was Satan having sex, because you got to animate him having sex and also choosing at one point. He'd made the wrong choice.
Yeah, he was bored with me. He was bored with me, and then he finds out, you fucking atheist. Right? He's bored, right? And then he finds out he's a fundamentalist Christian up here. Be on him like a ton of bricks. Yeah. So it's the fact that he can't believe his luck that the odd Christian.
And there's an animated Satan, there's an animated Hitler.
But it's all from this guy's point of view.
100%.
I've only taken his perspective of hell, and I've taken it on. If this is true, now where do we go? I don't deconstruct it and say it's nonsense. I go, well, if this is true, then this is true as well.
Yeah.
So let's build this world that this guy thinks exists.
Yes. But also just that you've become a cartoonist. I'm sort of latching on to that.
Yeah.
You are animating these stories for us.
Well, it does have to have a visual aspect, because they've come to a theatre and they're watching me, and they might as well buy it on the record. So I do have to give them something more, and it's not just being there, and that is a big part of live, and that's why it's now my favourite thing. of everything I do. Live is my favourite thing for at least 5 reasons, and probably more.
People ask, because the movies and stuff, they'll say, which do you prefer? And there will never be the drug like being on stage.
Honestly, and I've only discovered that this year. Only discovered that this year, really.
Really?
Yeah, I suppose I've been doing any of this for, 15, 16 years, and stand-up only as long as that as well. And I'm going to die. Right, more, wait a minute, hold that thought. And I always thought it was like the second or third string to my bow. I thought I was a writer, director, or maybe an actor. And I did stand up because I thought I should, and I really enjoyed it. And I was okay at it, but now I realise I wasn't great at it. I was fine, and in the mix.
Yeah.
But now I'm a real stand-up. And I'm a real stand-up, not just because I say I am, but that's important. Mm-hmm. That is an important commitment to say I'm a stand-up first. And I'm willing to say that this year.
Well, you won't get any of our real respect unless that's how you feel.
And I do now. And and I think it's also because the audience know me as well, so I can go further.
Yes.
So they know me
and they want you to.
Well, because they know what I'm doing now.
Right.
There's no ambiguity. I don't have to flag up irony and satire.
Nope.
Like a friend doesn't keep going, I'm joking. You go, well, I know you are. You're my friend. I know you.
I know
so, so that helps. But also I realise what a privilege it is, particularly in this time we live in, this post-truth era. Freedom of speech is so precious, and truth is so precious. And the fact that I have this platform as a regular guy.
You're talking about freedom of speech all throughout the set, without ever saying,
it's about that.
I would like to talk to you about freedom of speech.
It is about, exactly, it's about that. It's about offence culture and what that causes. And
Jamie, you commented on, we live in the apologize society, or society where people constantly having to apologize.
Yeah. Well, they don't
of,
have to, and that annoys me as well, because you can be wrong and you can say sorry, and that's cool, right? But then you can be wrong by popular vote and then say sorry because it damages your career and you want to come back into that. No, that makes it worse. I'd rather people go, do you know what? I said the joke, I mean the joke. Fuck you. If you don't like it, fuck you, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has the right to say what they want, but with that, freedom of speech comes freedom of backlash as well. You have to be willing to. You're not allowed to go, well, I said something nasty, but then they said something nasty back, and that's not fair.
Right.
Well, the risk is you will be unpopular and lose movies but no,
you have to be honest.
You have to be honest.
Own it. Talk about it.
And that's why it's so important for a comedian to own their own labour. And that's the other thing. I don't have to apologise to anyone. There's nothing that can happen to me outside breaking the law that will affect my career as a stand-up comedian,
right.
Because there's going to be enough people. In fact, comedian in hot water, I addressed it. I sell more tickets. What is this hot water? I haven't broken the law. What is this? Why am I in hot water?
Right.
You mean you didn't like the joke? Well, you weren't coming anyway.
Right.
You're not at the gigs.
Yes.
And the bigger you get, the more people love you and the more people hate you. Right. That's more. But the people that hate you, they weren't buying your DVDs or going to shows anyway. So all you've done is got more people who like you. They're the only ones that affect your life.
And they're rooting for you to stand up for what you say.
Exactly. You'll be letting down your fans by turning around and saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know what I was doing. I was only 55." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can apologise for something you did at 15, maybe.
Yeah.
But not something you did this year.
Jamie, I realized it was the PC nature of life that we live in now that you were commenting on. That it was. Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a double-edged sword as well, political correctness, because political correctness per se is a good thing. Political correctness came in to protect people's rights and not to say nasty things about people, things they can't help, to not be racist, to not be sexist, to not be misogynistic, and that's good. But then it got mugged by people going, well, if I'm not allowed to be racist, then they're not allowed to talk about something I don't like. And it's like, well, they're not the same things.
Right.
They're not the same things. You can't, just as I've always said, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. But it is wrong, I think, to hurt people for something they can't help. Again, that's my own morality. That's it. I don't go after those things. I go after behaviour, or I go after things they can't help. Ironically, I'm playing the idiot guy, and everyone gets that now.
Yeah, no, you talked a lot about your getting into trouble by saying X.
Yeah, exactly.
And then breaking down the trouble you got into, the comment you made, owning it, and then driving through it and making it actually funny, like the whole Caitlyn Jenner stuff.
Well, I go for the most contentious taboo subjects for a reason, because they're more exciting, and also the more emotive an issue is, the harder it is to get over that hump for them to laugh at, and that's the challenge for me, because a lot of offence comes again. I'm sort of on the side of the offended here in a way, because when I talk about taboo subjects, contentious issues, or go there, there's a lot of work that goes into that, making that joke bulletproof. Okay, and when someone does it lazily and they get in trouble, I go, well, yeah, because the joke was rubbish.
Right.
You can't just go out and say so much because it's lazy. It's like people are. I'm offended because the joke's awful. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or the target's wrong. Or so you've got to make those.
When you've worked that hard to build this particular boat.
Well, that's what people don't realise as well. That people do a column and they work on it for months, but when we do a show, we've worked on it for years.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? This is not luck why these jokes work every night.
Yeah, no, I asked you last night how many performances you've done of this particular show, and I think you said 100.
100, yeah. And that makes it illness proof. So last night in my head I'm thinking, is this going well? Is this going well? And of course it was, because I've done 100. So, you know, but I think that's the important thing, that we have worked on it. There's a great Picasso in his later years used to do sketches for charity. A big line of people, and he'd do a doodle, and it was $200 or something. And there was a queue, and this woman came and she said, "Oh, doing a sketch," and he just did a squiggle like that, right? And she went, "What? You're going to charge me $200 for that? It only took you a few seconds." And he said, "It took me all my life." I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And I think that a 3-second joke about something, everything goes into that joke. A joke's a piece of poetry.
Yeah.
Every word counts. And that's what really annoys me, when the paper pick up a gag and they get it slightly wrong and say how offensive it is. Like, oh, that is offensive. That's not my joke.
What you've written.
Every word counts in my joke.
Yeah.
So
there's another great quote of Joseph Heller's, that when you were asked, under the guise of the whole pressure of what's next. And
the journalist said, you haven't done anything as good as Catch-22.
Yeah.
And he said, neither's anyone else.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
If I were being honest, you haven't done anything as good as Catch-22.
I know. Yeah.
And he said, who has?
Yeah, I know.
Has anyone? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worrying about it. It's just like the difficult second album. If you want to not make it so difficult, don't do a really good first album. Make the first album a little bit shit, and then the second to be all right.
You've stepped in it there, haven't you?
Yeah.
You devastated the crowd with your 3 reasons for not having children. You know, we're not breeders either, and there is so much. It all starts with people saying, you're not having children, and you commenting on why aren't we going after them?
Yeah, people say, why aren't you having children? Which is an odd thing. I say it's an odd thing to say, because you'd ask people why they do have children, and I mean that to be, mine's an omission, not an act. So I didn't do anything. Why are you asking me why I didn't do something? Why don't ask me why they did do something? And then that turns into, why do you have children? I.e., children are awful. Why would you have children? So let's ask the fat lady in the leggings why she's had 8, shall we? Right. So I skew it, but then I do my 3 reasons why I don't have children.
Yeah.
And each reason worse and more selfish than the last.
But it's very in depth, and it's there are these sort of set pieces now, right? In the act.
Which have grown organically,
right?
Yeah, which
That's
is a
what
throwaway line that becomes acting out.
It breathes on its own every time.
Acting out the baby in the cot is now a piece of a small play. Right. It's a 3-minute noir play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the live performance wins and will win every time. Not just how endorphin is actually set off, and the sense of power when you're on stage doesn't exist in real life.
But it's also it get the feedback as well, because I love in the interview I hear someone there go, oh,
Yeah.
And I'd nearly laugh, you know. It's
Right.
it's lovely. It's lovely. I hear that ripple. It's like,
What about this? There's invariably someone in the front row.
well, I can't see the audience.
Even the front row?
I can't see the audience.
Yeah, I hate to see them.
It's black out,
Yeah.
2 spots there. I just can't see them. I don't want to see that, you know, because I don't want to pick on anyone. I don't want to make anyone feel self-conscious. I think they feel better if they feel that they're in the dark and they're anonymous. I can't see all that, but it sounds good. I can hear them, which is good.
I want to ask about the new radio show, which you also announced, that I saw on Twitter, was announced on Twitter. And as you claim, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. However, your plate is overflowing, so you're not going to do this unless it's something you want to do.
Well, when I say that as well, you know, that's a bit of marketing. I want people to be excited about it. I want them to know that I thought about it, and I thought about it for 3 years. They've been offering me a show for 3 years, and I never wanted to be a DJ. I never wanted to do 5. They said, anything you want, and so eventually, I always went on Sirius. I went on Opie and Anthony. Then I went on Jim and Opie and Jim. Then Jim and Sam. I'm a friend of the show. I'm a friend particularly of Jim Norton, and I met loads of people there. It's a great vibe, and I kept saying to the boss, "Listen, if I ever do a radio show, this is it." And I kept to that. I did, and then and then he said, "You can do it anywhere," and
in your pajamas at home.
yeah. And so I don't literally. They book a studio near my house in London. I get my chums in. I didn't want to do it. I didn't even want to do it once a week regularly because I didn't want to give that up. I can't stand it. It might be OCD. I can't stand not fulfilling anything. You know. Right. That's why I'm here today, dying. I didn't want to let anyone down. So I've pre-recorded them. I'm going to do.
Can we edit that just as a little video bite?
Yes. So I'm going to do. It's just 3 series of 10 over the year, and then maybe I'll do another year. But I want them to be happy with it. I want it to make it be, you know, financially viable for them, because they you know, it's a lot of money for what it is.
So there'll only be 10 over the course of a year, you're saying?
No, 30. I'm going to do
3 series of 10.
Yeah, which I can build up, and so I know it's in the can. I can't let anyone down. Right. I've already got 6 in the can. I'm going to do 4 next month, and that'll be the first 10, and they'll start going out. So I'm treating it more like sort of TV, and it's like this. It's always 3 people. Me, a comedy chum, maybe an eminent guest, or another comedy chum.
And you're talking about minutiae of life?
Yeah. Again, it's going to be. It's not about what happened on telly last night. So we do a bit about the background. I'm introducing people that America might not have heard of, like comedians in Britain who are great, but they haven't made it in America or not even trying. Right. But really funny, interesting people with interesting lives. We talk about comedy, talk about music, talk about the big issues, you know, and then we throw in guests like Richard Dawkins and, you know, Professor Brian Cox. So, you know, that the Dawkins one is all about where we came from, but we deconstruct in a really easy. Everyone can understand evolution from that hour and a half, and it's funny as well, because, you know, so. And
you said that 1 or more have dropped already on Sirius?
Well, the first one went out with Ben Bailey Smith, who was my sort of co-star in Life on the Road, and Huey Morgan from Fun Loving Criminals, and we talked about their upbringing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a chat, really. So
you're saying there won't be Rockbusters?
There's none of the nonsense. Well, I say there's none that I've grown up. It's none of the nonsense. And then the first episode, the pilot episode, we talk about a big pulsating pile of decapitated testicles when you come across a serial killer's lair. So
perfect.
So who knows?
Yeah, I've got a couple Rockbusters for you. Yep, because fans of yours need this.
Right, go on.
Just a couple.
Are they ones that happened?
Nope.
I still wouldn't remember them.
These are fresh.
They're fresh, okay.
They're fresh, devised by our very own Corey Levin. That Helms bloke is getting a load of wool off his sheep, isn't he? Initials ES.
Ed Sheeran.
Very good. The magician's rod is pretty stiff. What's going on there? Initials OD. actually.
What? The magician? What? The magician's wand?
The magician's rod is pretty stiff. What's going on there? This one's fucked up.
I don't know. Is this going to annoy me? Go on.
It is going to annoy
Go
you.
on.
Initials are OD.
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's One Direction or wand erection. It was meant to annoy you.
Oh, it's made me iller. Honey.
But wasn't that
I need another.
wasn't that part of
Need another day quill.
Rockbusters back in the day? 'Cause
Yes.
that is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, it's
beautifully.
perfect. Well done. Well done.
Let's leave it at that. Let's quit while we're ahead. I did put it out to the Twitterverse to ask a few questions, and
Good.
we're only going to share a couple,
Go on.
but we will. This one from our very own, I guess he's Zach, the Nerdy Fox 108. Yeah.
He's my Disney friend.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned something about this, which is why this was perfect. So, Zach, which is at NerdyFox108, please share anything and everything about working with the Muppets. So,
Yes, he's one of my Disney friends. We go to Disney theme parks together, and we love the Muppets. And
Yeah.
There's this great Muppet attraction now at Liberty Square at Disney World. It's awesome.
crazy fond of everything Muppet.
Just fun. I love Muppets. I've always loved the Muppets. I did Sesame Street, and honestly, it was the highlight. But Elmo just makes me laugh. Muppet Christmas Carol is one of the best films ever, and it's the only way you can improve Dickens. Stick some Muppets in it. Works for everything.
Does.
Muppet Schindler's List.
Who would be in the Ralph Fiennes role? Which Muppet would you cast?
Walter.
Sure. We have
Let's move on from this. I'm getting hot.
Yep.
It could be illness.
We have
could be fear.
a chain of grocery stores in Los Angeles called Ralph's, which we call
I know, yeah.
Rafes. We
Yeah.
call them Rafes.
All right. Yeah. No.
Just for the
Doesn't make
pretentiousness.
Raves. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, all things Muppets. So they must have grabbed you when you were a kid because they're beautifully subversive.
Yeah. I didn't realise it at the time, and I didn't realise until I saw John Cleese do one.
Oh, great.
And he was getting angry with them, and they were bringing him down, and it wasn't right for him. And I just thought, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that until I started doing extras, and I realised I sort of ripped that off a little bit, where you'd get a big star of the day and bring them down with people who are idiots, and bring
Yes.
them down. And even though I had pretensions and stuff, they weren't the idiot. They were sort of above it. And I loved how the Muppets did that, and how people would go on there and do anything. And I realised it's like a day off for a star to
Go fuck off with the
yeah.
Muppets.
And it's funny because even when they announced that I was going to star in the new Muppet movie, they said human lead. Just so I knew my place. Ricky Gervais has taken the human lead in the. Couldn't even give me that. Couldn't even say lead.
No.
Just in case the frog was annoyed.
Fucking.
and I now love Constantine. He honestly, Constantine. I wish he was real. When I was doing them, I was excited to go to work because Constantine was. I'm going to see him with Constantine.
Right?
Honestly.
That's how real they are.
Well, it is how real they are, and it might be how childish I am.
Yes, both.
And how I think the world would be better if animals could talk and rule the. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I genuinely do. I do like humans. Obviously, I do. I am one. Right.
You've been with the same one since you were a lad.
I've been the same ones. Yeah. But I just think animals are a bit better.
Yeah.
I love them.
We are cat people also. Our Edith, tuxedo cat, overdressed for every occasion.
The little white thing. Yeah.
Cravat.
Yeah.
I will go on until someone slaps me about the superiority.
So cool.
And I will just begin and end it with, they bury their own poo.
Well,
The only other animal other than humans.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's to stop predators from finding them. So why aren't all animals doing that?
They're the only animal that domesticated themselves.
Exactly.
They went in and they thought, I can work these guys. They have their meow to humans isn't in their
They
nature.
talk to each other.
They know that can get them things. They know that can get them things. They invented that because they know these guys are suckers. They let us sleep here. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We think we're conning them, getting them in to get mice. They're going, well, I love mice. I love mice.
Where are
I
they?
have mice and I eat. Well, all right, fine.
Mice and kibble.
Yeah, it's like you can't con a cat.
No.
You can't con a cat. There's that funny thing is that they used to be worshipped as gods and they've never forgotten it.
Oh, that's great.
And the other thing is
Sphinx.
yeah, of course, yeah. Dogs have owners, cats have staff. I love dogs as well, though. I covet other people's dogs. We go for walks, me and Jane. We go for walks every day in Hampstead. Every day we're in New York, we go to Central Park. And we know dogs. We know them we go, Ollie! We know dogs by their name. And it's crazy. There's nothing makes you feel better than a dog being happy or a dog recognizing you. Oh my God.
Right.
Unbelievable. What a privilege. What a privilege, yeah.
To be in that dog's mind.
That dog was thinking about me.
It's freakish.
I know. If a dog recognizes me, it does that, and it goes, I can't believe my luck. It's just amazing.
Yes.
You're walking along, a dog's like playing, and he recognises you. He goes, Rick. I go, hi mate, how you doing? It's incredible. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing I get to spirituality. A dog. Feeling a dog's love. Yeah.
It's pretty grand.
Yeah, amazing.
We did, on your motion picture that you wrote and directed, it took us about 3 minutes to be fucking off like 9-year-olds.
I know.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. I think we're not grown up. Do you think that's not having kids, or we're just not grown up?
It's one of the rationalizations I've always made, for sure, is my childhood is extended because...
Yeah, but then what's better than making people laugh and them having you laugh? I don't know how you could feel your day better. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's not a childish thing, is it? Is it what George Bernard Shaw said? People... what is it? They don't grow old because they stop playing. They stop playing because they grow old or something. What is it? You don't. Fuck me.
You know, I love that you've.
I've really nailed George Bernard Shaw.
You made a point of remembering
Yeah.
it and then didn't.
George Bernard Shaw said, spit it out, George. Listen, let me have a go. People don't stop playing because they grow old. They grow old because they stop playing.
That might be it, George. Keep trying.
Yeah, I know, but I think maybe that happened. Maybe Winston Churchill had loads of goes at it, but when it gets in the book, we'll fight them, we'll duff them up on the beaches and have another go, we'll fight them on the beach. Yeah, that's better, Winston. Yeah.
Yeah, not everyone will know what duff 'em up means.
Well, okay, yeah.
So go with fight.
Oscar Wilde. Have you anything to declare? Nothing but a genius. Who are these butt plugs there, Mike?
Vivian French is the Wi-Fi from Twitter. Is the Wi-Fi password of never say 1267 again in your film Life on the Road significant?
No, I think because when we used real venues that Dave Brett was playing in pubs, and so we went in backstage, and it's probably the actual Wi-Fi for one of the venues in the thing. So yeah, it was hyper real because it was real. You know, yeah.
Jamie loves to collect Wi-Fi passwords.
Yes.
Everywhere she goes.
That's one of my hobbies. Is to everywhere I go, I'm like, can I get Wi-Fi? Yeah.
That's one step further than train spotting. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know the one for here if anyone needs it.
But there's no clubs. You don't meet up with like loads of other guys with Wi-Fi passwords.
This is just so like I'm always like connected to like a hard line.
You see, I think when the people make fun of like nerds, train spotters, and they meet up, right? And they spot trains, and that's their thing. I think it's the meeting up they're addicted to.
Sure.
I think if we said, look, we've got enough trains, so we just go to the pub. We're mates now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think But I think that's quite sweet.
A shared common interest,
I
bonding.
like clubs. Yeah, I quite like that sort of.
Especially, I think the nerd culture came from we weren't accepted in the real world, so we're going to start our own, and then they gravitate to each other.
Well, nerds have done all right, haven't they? These computer nerds of the 60s and.
Well, the meek shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
The geek shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that I went to a tattoo parlor that I hadn't been to in like 4 years, I think, and I still had their Wi-Fi password, and I was very excited.
Very
And
pleased.
what, you knew it, or you had it written down?
No, it was in. No, it's like once you put it in your phone, it's saved in there.
Oh, I see.
Until they change it. So they hadn't changed it, and I was very excited that I still had it. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, but the fact that tickled you.
No, I can see where that would be a
It did
victory.
tickle me quite
That'd
a
be a
bit.
victory.
Yeah. She followed up with a question that leads to a topic I wanted to discuss, which is did George Michael improvise during his appearance on Extras? Because I want to talk about a lot of the goings on with Extras and so on. So to that specific question.
No, he didn't. There were sort of set lines he had to do. But what he did do, he was such a surprisingly good actor. It made it look like it was ad-libbed. I mean, he was a better actor than some actors who act, and he didn't act. It was like he was really having that conversation. It's just all you want from someone, and that sounds like people say, "Oh, you're just playing themselves." I think don't people know how hard it is to play yourself?
It's impossible
because you don't know what you're giving off. You don't know what yourself is, what they want, right? And you sort of have to explain it to people what yourself is. Some people are very aware why they've been hired and what they're doing, and you know.
Yeah, they start to lean into a Christopher Walken, for example. People become hyper aware of what he, and then he becomes aware.
And sometimes you want that. Sometimes you want, Bowie. We wanted him to be sort of aloof and not quite there, and just do this thing, and he got that.
Right.
So when we got Bowie for Extras, I sent him the lyrics. I was wanting him to do the music, and I knew him. I already knew him quite well by then, right? But still, it's still David Bowie. You know what I mean? It's still my hero. So I sent the lyrics, and I phoned him up and I said, "Did you get the lyrics?" He went, "Yep, yeah." I said, "Can you give me something like a sort of retro like Life on Mars?" And he went, "Oh yeah. I'll knock off a quick fucking Life on Mars for you." Like this opus. "Oh yeah, Rick. Yeah. What, something like this?"
Is that all you need?
Yeah. And when he did it, "Pathetic little loser. No one's bloody laughing." And it was like something off of Hunky Dory or something. It's amazing. Just amazing.
Silly little fat man.
Oh, God. Yeah. And then he... and I returned the favour. He got me to do the first time I played Madison Square Garden for the Highline Festival. He was curating it to build the Highline project.
Right.
And he introduced me onto stage, and he went out with a little harmonica and went, "Chubby little loser, no one's bloody laughing," and the crowd
insane,
just insane. Oh, I still pinch myself. But.
You say hero, but it is important. I don't know that enough people know that your first career was, one could argue, a Bowie knockoff, but you had a hit.
No. This is maybe
a smallish song that people.
Well, apparently it was a big hit in the Philippines and still is. It's one of those. We're one of those one-hit wonders in the Philippines, which I don't know. I've never been there. I've never, and probably by today's standard, it probably would have charted in the number of, you know what I mean. But we missed the charts both times.
Right.
I think it got to something like 116.
But still, my fantasy is that you show up finally to the Philippines to do as part of your stand-up tour, and they've all come to see you sing that song, and you don't, and they're confused.
Just that one song. That I don't sing the one song we had, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Also, they'd look at this and they'd think,
what happened?
The fuck happened? I go, "Pizza and beer, fuck off." Right? So this is it.
Yeah.
So I went to university very quickly, right?
Sure.
I did sciences all the way through school. I wanted to be a scientist. Went to university, 18, 19, to study biology. Got there and I thought, I didn't come to college to be a biologist. I came here to join a rock band, right? I've seen David Bowie. I can do that, right? So I did. Me and a guy, we did a thing, did a demo, got signed like that overnight. Crazy, right? First thing, this is never gonna end, right?
It was so easy.
Place in Chelsea, Jane. We're rich for the rest of our lives.
We've done it. We've done it, haven't we?
We've made it, right? That one failed. Next one failed. Done. Dropped. All over in a year. But I learned a lot from it. I shouldn't have wanted to be a pop star. I should have wanted to be a musician. So when I approached this, I realised I want to be a writer director, not a celebrity or whatever. Yeah, that was, and this only comes to light because I'm famous now for something else.
Right, of course.
Everyone's got this, you know, in their past. They tried to be a rock star or something.
Yeah, when you're done here, go to YouTube and find the video.
Yeah, it's, people, it still pops up on Twitter going, Ricky Gervais, people go, no way. They don't know how insulting that is. Yes, way. Yes, I haven't changed.
I want to talk about any other of those type of icons who ended up guest starring on extras that you might have had fun with, because there were a number. Not just.
Well, we started Ben Stiller, Kate Winslet, Sam Jackson.
Which everyone thinks you're friends with.
Yeah, everyone thinks that we hang out in a big house like the Monkeys. Do you know what I mean? You're in LA. I'm in LA twice a year. You know, I've got 3 friends here. You're one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Just to tell you how well things are going.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone. You know, you do it professionally. You call them up. But what did allow me to do it was that where The Office made the most impact in America initially was amongst these people in the in the industry. The first person I remember hearing about had seen The Office was Matt Groening. You know what I mean? So I thought, oh wow, Matt Groening's seen my work.
It got passed around initially, I think, within show business.
I think so.
People saying, like, turning each other on the way they did to the pilot episode of South Park. The Christmas thing.
But then you got to realise that at the time when I was hearing about this, it was already over for me.
Over.
It was like I did the Office Christmas special in 2003, and that was done. And then I get the phone call from Ben Silverman saying we want to do a remake. You know, and he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Starbucks on Wardour Street." He said, "I'm in town." He got a cab over, and that was it. And then we were up for the Golden Globes, and I wasn't going to go. 2004, I think, or 2002. I wasn't going to go because I was thinking of putting a warm-up on sale at a little theatre, and I hadn't put it on sale yet, right? And my agent went, "What do you mean you were going to do a warm-up?" He said, "This is the Golden Globes." I went, "Yeah, we're not going to win though, are we?" He went, "You might want to go." And so we flew over to the Golden Globes, and I just thought we were making up the numbers. I thought it was a trendy little British show against all these work, and won both of them, you know. And I went up and did a stupid speech, and it was that week that I had a meeting.
But it's humbling, right? When you don't expect.
Well, it was crazy. It didn't make sense.
Right.
It didn't make sense.
Right.
I'd gone over. I'd bought the shoes that day.
Sure.
I was still jet lagged. We flew. BBC flew me and Jane over. Right. I had to buy some shoes. The first time on the red carpet, they said, "Who are you wearing?" I went, "What do you mean, who am I wearing?" "What do you mean, who am I wearing?" I went, I said, I looked and it was Marks and Spencer's, right, which is just a
British
chain store, right? It's just sweating, the hot, sweaty Brit. I didn't know what was going on. On the way in the limo, right, I was hungry, right, because we were going out at 2 p.m, right?
Right.
It was 90 degrees, right, tuxedo, James' dress, right? And so we stopped at a garage in this limo they'd sent. Stopped at this a garage, what is it?
Gasoline station.
Yeah, and I bought a big packet of those, what are those things, we call them, they're like Cheetos, the orange, big sort of
They're
puffed.
Cheetos here as well.
Yeah, right. And I ate those, right?
So you're orange?
Jane said, "Look at your face." But I had it in my teeth. So I'm in the limo, in the ice bucket in the limo, trying to clean off that, right, all around my mouth, right, on my fingers, and I had to get out. No one knew I was, luckily, so I was doing that, and they're going, "What?" I go, nothing. So yeah, and then that week, I met with Ben Silverman,
The head of NBC at the
no,
time?
he was a Rivalli who sold it to
right,
him,
the production
remade it. I popped up on an episode of Alias because J.J. Abrams had heard me, and I watched. I liked it. I really liked the show, and that's incredible. And then I had an audience with the Simpsons people, and they said, "Do you want to write an episode?"
Yeah.
Which that was my first week. Jane, this is never going to end. If every week's like this, there's a bit in The Simpsons when there's a guy talking to Homer, and he's bought these platform shoes, and there's a chart, and he goes, Homer, it's 1976. This is the chart of money coming in from discos. If this trend carries on...
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so, but it was still madness. We went to... people coming up to me, like huge actors had seen the show, and I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. It's
right.
I mean, proper icons, you know, like Jack Nicholson and Clint Eastwood, and it's just crazy people walking around. It's madness.
Yeah, that's what I meant about the 75 people deep line to Kiss the Ring the first time you came through to do stand-up. It was the who's who of show business that would just wanted to say hello. Sort of thing. So that goes from humbling to, and this is something you talked about in the act, which is how quickly the mind sets to, where's the guy who...
Entitlement, yeah.
Yeah, the
so
entitlement.
The first time that I started making it in America, I do this in the act, that I'm not out of touch, but I am spoiled, and it doesn't take
Spoiled.
much.
There's such a chasm between out of touch and spoiled.
Of course, yeah. And so the next time we flew to America, someone met us and walked us through, and past the queue and out the other side. And the first time it happens, I'm going, oh my God, everyone's looking at me on Facebook, looking at my watch, going, oh, I'm pretending to be late. Next time we flew, where's that bloke who walks us through? I'm not fucking queuing. You know? Because if you can do it, why wouldn't you? You know?
Right.
And it's an exaggeration. I'm not really like that, and I've never had my head turned by anything. I do think it's a farce. I'm not in awe. After the Golden Globes, we can't wait to get home and get in bed and watch Big Brother or something and drink champagne when we're safe. I honestly, I can't network. I don't like those parties. I'm too hot and sweaty and old to be talking bullshit. I don't want
It's the
I don't
bullshit.
want anything from anyone because I do my own stuff.
But it's
don't,
the small talk bullshit that you don't want to catch yourself doing.
Yeah, I can't. I don't get it. I don't know how people can live their whole career like that, worrying about the stats and where they are and who they're. Fucking hell, you've made it. I'd made enough money after 1 year. Do you know what I mean? I just. I don't. It's like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm too. Luckily, in my career, my laziness has been mistaken for integrity many times. So I turn stuff down because I'm sitting down already.
Is there something in the show on that? Because if not, there needs to be.
I'll do that next time. I do how lazy I am. All the things I've turned down because I can't be bothered.
Specifically mistaken for integrity. That's a beautiful.
I know. I just can't.
There's a wealth of
honestly
stuff there.
I'd just
what they
rather-
think you're doing. Did you see that picture?
Nothing competes with sitting at home in your pants, drinking wine with
And
girlfriend
again, by
and your
pants
cat.
he means diapers.
Yeah. And watching telly. Nothing competes with that. If the phone rings at 6:15, I go, what's that? I can't, your agent wants to talk to you. Oh, tell him I'm dead.
He's not dead, he's just unavailable.
Honestly, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, no.
I can't be, and that's why I love stand-up. My rules, my club. I'm free next week. Tickets go on sale, they sell out the club. I don't have to answer to anyone.
Yeah.
Outside breaking the law of the land. I say what I want it's amazing. And this tour was basically me and Jane choosing places we want to go.
Oh.
So I was playing 13,000 people in Copenhagen. Getting there the day before, having the day off, working around Copenhagen, popping up, doing a gig, coming back. It's just honestly, there is no better life. It's better than anything.
Yeah, and I'm thrilled to hear you say that because you've had the opportunity now to do whatever you want in all fields. And everyone's always asking what's next, and to hear that this is now your favorite thing to do. That is what a comedian says.
It is my favorite thing, and I can't wait. I finished this tour in Vancouver, end of January, early Feb, and then I am committed. I've got a new show that I'm writing but I can't. While I'm writing that show, I want to be doing warm-ups for a new show when I've taped the new show. I want to do another stand-up. So it'll be 2 years, but I can't wait to start again. I'm even thinking of titles. Morality, I thought, for the next one.
That's good.
But I like this laziness. And all I'm trying to do is get more and more honest.
Yes.
And go there even more.
Yes.
How far can I go? And
that's what I realized about this show versus the last. There's as much animation, there's as much silliness and fun, but it's just way more honest, which that becomes the you've edited out all the fluff, and you've gotten right to the core of your thoughts.
But they know why I'm doing it. They know why I'm doing it. I don't suddenly come out and say something. They go, "Why is he saying that?" I've primed them. They know what the theme of the show is, and they know. And I think you can go anywhere as long as you explain what you're doing. You can do anything.
Right, and it also makes the audience feel that much closer to you.
And I feel close to them as well. I do. I genuinely. I like them more now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I sort of, and that sounds odd as well, but I never didn't like them. I thought, what is this about? Why are we doing this? You've paid all this money. I'm going to come out. I'm not your friend. I'd set up this weird dialogue. They were going, they want more from me. They didn't want more from me. They just wanted my best show possible. And now I realise, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was like a phobia. Like when a friend says, calls you up and you go, oh, what do you want? And they will go, I just want to say, how you doing? I go, oh, fine. They don't want more from me. They just want my best show.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it now. I absolutely love it.
But it's not enough. I do want to stress that you're not just going out on stage and spewing honesty and what you think. These are well-crafted, honed stories and animation and pieces that you've worked your ass off on. And maybe only another professional
honestly, the
can
pressure
see
now, because the anecdote, I always liked anecdotes because the pressure was off with a one-liner. I never liked that pressure of having to deliver the one-liner perfectly every night.
Yes.
Right? And I thought an anecdote was better, but now I put that pressure on anecdotes because the anecdotes are so honed. They're like long jokes now.
Yes.
So there's a real choreography to it, and
that's the word.
I really do sort of conduct these stories now. So, but they don't see the join. It is honest. They are real. They are the truth. They really did happen. And I'm very conscious of that as well.
The guy who opened for you last night, who's wonderful, I don't know if you remember his name.
Alex Edelman.
That's correct.
Told a story about doing his wheelchair bit was from here.
Yeah, I told
this
Ricky,
theater. Yeah.
Before the show that we love that connection. But the true sign of a comedian who's doing jokes was something he did in his act. That goes all the way back to Bob Hope, who was just joke machine.
Yeah.
Which is not happening when you're telling stories, and which is at the end of at the punchline, you drive behind it by going but I want to tell you was what Bob Hope would say at the end of the joke, which fills that gap in case there's no laugh. So in your mind, in the Dennis Miller brilliant black and white stand-up special, after almost every joke, he'll say,
Yeah.
There's that little gap. So when you're telling stories, there's none of
that. And also the other difference is that with a story, there's no end to it. When you tell a joke and then what happened? Well, nothing. It was a joke. Whereas you tell a story and then what happened? Well, actually, there is more. It never ends.
Yeah.
The story. The more you go into it, and the more, and that's what's great about story because it's because it happened. There's such a wealth. 2 people have 2 different stories. 3 people have 3. They go in every different direction. So you can really eke out every part of a true story. And I sometimes drop jokes. Every time I do write the odd joke that isn't real, and I drop it because I'm worried the audience think, well, they know that was a joke,
right?
So maybe they think this other thing's a
Precedent.
joke. Yeah, I wrote a joke, and I think I write 2 jokes a year, or as I'm doing the Golden Globes, but I don't write jokes like that.
Right.
So I wrote a joke. I said, I'm sorry, I feel a bit bad because a good friend of mine committed suicide yesterday. Just went up to the bathroom cabinet and swallowed everything, choked on a tampon, right? And I just thought, that's a sucker punch joke,
right?
And they might laugh, But then I've got to go, no, but this really did happen. They go, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sucker punch.
Right.
So I don't do those. I don't do those gags. I give them away. I'll say you can have them. I don't, because it's not me. It's not my thing. And I love the discipline of writing jokes. I love it.
Right.
Writing jokes for the Golden Globes because I can't use them again. I love that discipline of this is about this event, this presenter, what they did this week. I love all that.
And then editing down to its fiber. Yeah, I recently reintroduced a joke. My act is all stories. And I recently reintroduced a joke that I did years and years ago that I just remembered. And I realized almost instantly it's the same false beat.
Go on.
Well, my uncle was a faith healer. Of course, as a Jewish faith healer, he did things a little different. He would heal people by comparing his illnesses to theirs.
Great.
So he would say, "You've sprained your ankle, have you? I have a growth on my colon the size of your face. How do you feel now, Mr. Ankle?"
Could you pretend that was real? Could you lie and make that real?
Well, I do find a way to present it as if the uncle, because I've already done a thing about the aunt, and I am telling a story, but it just reeks.
Well, I think you're allowed to do it in metaphor. If you were talking about your uncle, this is the sort of guy he is. He'd do faith in. I think you're allowed to do that and digress and add on to that.
That's the fix.
As long as there's a bigger story.
He's the kind of guy who would be.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you're allowed to do that,
Yes.
and people like that, and they do it all the time. You know.
Right.
And because you're allowed to talk in metaphor and simile, and he's the sort of guy who.
Right.
This is a typical. This is what he said once. And I think that's allowed to use found objects, even if you exaggerate them. But there has to be a truth to it. There has to be a reason for it, I think.
They can smell it if it's not.
And even when I'm talking about my brother Bob and my family and growing up, it's about why I talk about offence now.
Yes.
It's about why I refuse to not go after the man, but you know what I mean? It's about why I have a problem with authority. It's about why I can laugh at this because I can laugh at my own mum's funeral. You know what I mean?
It was by far the most telling thing of the show about you personally.
Oh, good.
It was by far.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's all telling about you, but that specifically when you talk, and I made a note of, I don't remember you talking about your family really before, and especially Bob. When you said it, I was like, I didn't even know he had a brother, Bob.
Yeah.
And how he becomes the focal point and the driving force of this experience for you and the rest of the family.
Well, it is true. It is true, and I realise that he's more influential than you think, and they all were. You know, your parents, they're your parents, but because of this mezzanine level that I had with my mum and dad having me 11 years after the last one. So my older brother Larry, he's 14 years older than me, my sister's 13 years older than me, and Bob's 11 years older than me. So I remember when I was 12 years old, I said to my mum, "Why are my brothers and sisters so much older than me?" And she said, "You're a mistake." I just laughed.
Jamie's two sisters are what, 15 years old? 10 years and 15 years?
Yes, that's good. No, 5 and 10 years.
So there's the big gap.
No, excuse me.
No,
10
it's
and
10 and
15.
15.
They're 5 years apart. 10 and 15. Yes, man, I'm sorry.
Well, that's about the same. Yeah.
Yes.
So like my sister, I was like I had best of both worlds because they'd done all the groundwork for me when I came along. You know, my parents were exhausted, right? So my sister taught me to read. I was reading at 3 because I was like a little experiment for her. And my older brother's already away by then. He'd gone to college and stuff, and I remember. But Bob was the next one to me, and Bob was like coming of age. He was 18, 19, going out, seeing him get in trouble, and I saw, and I remember once, I was brought up Christian. I went to Sunday school from the age of 4 to I don't know 11, wherever it was, and I believed in it all. But I was often said to a working class woman, Jesus is an unpaid babysitter. If I'm not watching you, you've got to be good. It's the way. And I remember I was doing something Bible studies, and I was about 8. So Bob was about 19, and he came in and he looked and he went, "Why do you believe in God?" And my mum went, "Bob." And I just thought,
Why would he say that?
Why would? So it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, there was such suspicion instantly when he says, "Why would you?"
Yeah, and she went, "Bob,
Because he's someone who had established himself in your mind as not just the wiser because he's older, but the cool one.
Well,
right?
He wasn't worried about bullshit. He wasn't rebel without a cause. But he didn't ask anything from anyone. He was rebel without a cause. He didn't have to.
And the moment your mom says Bob, she's completely confirmed.
And I know why. It's because in those days it was equated with morality. Christian values were they were equated with that's how you stay out of trouble, which we know isn't true. So she was doing her best.
Sure.
They don't hold on. If he'd have said, "Why do you believe in Santa?" at 8, she might have let it go.
Or she might have said, "Well, you've ruined that, haven't you?"
Well, exactly. Yeah, and that
it would have been brilliant if she'd said that about God.
Well, I think
you've ruined that, haven't you?
I think I believed in Santa for a few months longer.
Sure.
Than God.
So much more to offer, really.
Well, there was evidence.
There was physical evidence. You had a chimney.
Yeah, exactly.
There were presents.
Yeah.
The cookie was half eaten.
Exactly, yeah. The whiskey had definitely gone.
You didn't have to be Columbo to put these things together.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Oh, God. Wow. Oh,
brilliant! Let's get you back home to rest.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are we done?
You've done brilliantly.
I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
The drugs are wearing off.
Yeah. No, I promise to keep it an hour, and we're just barely past that.
That was fun.
Just a conversation, really.
It was great fun. Go on, one more.
There was. Is it true that you were on a British talk show or chat show, and the host commented that you were looking newly fit and trim, and asked how come, and you replied, AIDS.
Yeah, I think so. I just want to put him on the spot. He went, "You've lost so much weight." I think it was Alan Carr, wasn't it? He went, "You've lost so much weight." Why? I just went, AIDS.
And the freedom of that.
As I say in the show, me and Bob had one simple rule. If you think of something funny, you've got to say it. Win, lose or draw. It might go well, it might not as well.
But that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the way back.
Again, the target there is making someone feel awkward about why they asked.
Yeah.
So people think, "Oh, it's a terrible joke about..." No, I'm not joking about AIDS.
Yeah.
I'm making someone worry about where they're... Yeah.
Yeah, in the same way that you don't ask the heavy-set woman when she's due.
Exactly. It's not worth the risk.
Nope.
Even if you're sure, even if you're 99% sure that woman's pregnant, don't ask what you.
No.
Could be wind.
Famous questions. Christopher Guest asks, your love for animals is well known, but I didn't realize until recently that you were a steeplechase jockey in Raiden when you were a lad. The question is, was it as fun as it looks? Well, that's him, isn't it?
Well, if he can get a jockey into anything, I think I've never... It's the disproportionate amount that he has brought up the word jockey since I've known him. I don't know what... They are amusing, because
Yes.
they're perfect little men, right, who sit on horses and make the horse do all the work, right?
Right.
And it's an odd sport. Let's put that species on that species and see who wins. Well, no, don't just get on there, put on some silk. Why? Dress up. Let's do a monkey on a pig. Why do we do that? Why do monkey on a pig? Why do we do jockey on a horse? It's odd. It's an odd sport. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And they don't all talk like this, but some of them.
Or as Christopher Walken might say.
Nice. Our dear friend and co-star Kellen MacDonald had a famous question for you. These are questions from famous people. What do you like best? She wrote, what does he like best? What do you like best? Tomatoes or tomatoes or other people in restaurants? Really the question is, what do you like least? Tomatoes or other people in restaurants?
I honestly...
it's a tough one.
People in restaurants. I don't like fruit and veg or salad, but I'm getting better now.
Are you?
But they would win over people in restaurants.
Because?
I'm famous. I can't stand noisy eaters. I don't get it. I am antisocial. Me and Jane go to a restaurant, and we look around. She sees me looking. She goes, "What?" I go, woman over there eating soup. She goes, "Do you want to move?" I go, "Yeah." Let's go next door.
Yeah, my problem is just seeing anyone chew.
Well,
That's
once
a real
we were going in the cab, right, in New York, right, there's a lovely little cafe, and I went, "Oh, that looks nice." She went, "Yeah, we went there once." I went, "Did we?" She went, "Yeah, we had to leave because a man was eating bread near you."
We had to leave. What's the matter?
Because sometimes it gets to me, I go, "Why is it?" And I look at them, and Jane goes, "They don't know why you're looking at them." I go, "Well, they should know why I'm looking at them." What? Fuck, has no one ever told you? Why are you eating like that?
Yes.
Oh.
That's my new ringtone, by the way.
Yeah.
The sound he just made.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Everything ruins my day. I started taking out earplugs, and Jane would go, "That's sociable." Just in case. Just in case.
Yeah, when you are forced to fly commercial, how quickly do the headphones go on?
I can never be without my iPod and earphones. So I've got surround sound things now that I put earplugs in and those on. So it's just impossible that anyone can annoy me. And a sight will annoy me as well, because I can be in a thing, right, and I can just see someone's feet and they've got their socks. I don't know. I can shut my eyes, right? But one thing you can't close is
Sound.
Smell.
Smell.
Can't block your nose, can you? And it's not a big problem on first class. Yes. So I assume this comes from
Unless you're flying back from Hawaii and they're
My flight back from Hawaii on Wednesday or Thursday night was like a step above a Greyhound bus. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how
the dregs of people on that plane, and mostly and in first class.
I cashed in
sound
miles, so we
terrible.
flew first
I
class.
realize
But
I
I've
sound
always been
terrible.
like this, though. It's not because I think I'm above it now, and I've never understood. I've never understood someone. I used to eat my dinner on the stairs, right? Because even my family, I couldn't stand scraping and stuff. It's obviously something wrong with me, but it's like it doesn't matter. I'm okay now.
Yeah,
but,
better.
But I don't get it. I don't, and it's when I think it's willful. I've never, someone sniffer. Oh, there was someone typing on the plane once, right? She was typing away, right? No one needs to type that loud for a start. And she had a bracelet bangle, and that was right. I was going to go, "Take the fucking bracelet off and get typing." I'm trying to sleep here. Oh.
Yeah. The horns, the Viking horns in the bathtub. That actually happened, or that was Photoshop?
No, that's all real. As I was in Scandinavia, so I like to do a bath pic now and again in the bath. I try
Always flattering.
Try and look as ugly as I can.
Yep. Triple chin.
And exactly. And then I developed doing a topical one. Whatever town or country I was in, I do something. So Iceland, I had a Viking helmet. Scotland, I had a ginger wig. Not insulting at all. Canada, I had a moose on my head, and it sort of became a little thing. And then I'd sign it and hide it in the town, and people would find it on Twitter. And yeah.
Why always crossed eyes though? Because that's the funniest thing.
Well, because nothing. I don't know. Symmetry is beauty, isn't it? So if you can make everything go a bit wonky, perfect. Yeah. And it's what they're thinking as well. It's also what they're thinking. To them, it's just. It looks like a moment someone was hit with a cricket bat. It's that surprise.
And what it also is animation, clearly.
Of course, yeah. Black the teeth out, anything. Just. I think it's confusion as well.
Yes.
Just something. Because I've always thought that confusion has always been funny to me. So if you see a weird. Hobo doing a funny little dance, right? He's happy, right? And you think that's a bit weird, but you look across the street and there's a businessman going, that's the shot. Let's go into the businessman. What's he thinking? Why is he so confused? Well, we can both see. We know what it is. Why are you so confused? Yeah, it's a tramp dancing. What's the confusion?
Yes.
You have no right to be confused. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things I ever heard a civilian say was very similar. It was his observation of that weird comical, and it wasn't making fun of the person because they were homeless. They were acting the fool purposely in this crosswalk.
Of course.
They were going for a laugh.
Of course. That's
and
it,
my
yeah.
friend says, look, another one that let go of the balloons.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it was that.
But people forget that. And even in Lauren Hardy, when Stan does something stupid and it goes to Ollie, just looking at him, it goes to him 3 times. You never remember that, but that's why you're laughing, because you're empathising with Ollie, okay? And anthropologists think the first bit of joke or humour or why one caveman laughed at another was he saw a caveman stub his toe, because he knew that caveman didn't mean to do that.
Wow.
And that's what it is.
Yes.
That's why we're laughing. That's why we laugh at someone falls over. It's not us. It's not us.
That's right.
They didn't want to fall over, and
Right.
that's funny. Why?
Right.
But it is.
Yeah.
It is. Unless they land on a spike.
Then it's not.
Not so funny.
Till later.
There's a blood and teeth missing.
You need time for
Then
that.
rats come and eat their eyes quickly. Then you go, oh no, it's
They're
worse.
in a hurry?
Yeah.
The rats are in a hurry. Okay, last thing, Kevin's pop quiz. Between 5 and 15 points possible for each of these 3 questions. Once the final score is tabulated, it'll be posted on our website along with the current standing among the
What
top.
pop? What do you mean? Pop quiz, as in pop music?
Nope, just a pop as in quick quiz.
Oh my God, I take these things so seriously, and I'm ill.
Yep.
Right.
Question
right.
number 1.
What?
Sammy Davis Jr. or Ann B. Davis?
I don't know who Ann B. Davis is.
She was the maid on the Brady Bunch.
See, I can't answer that. Do another one.
Perfect. Carl Weathers or the weather in Carlsbad?
Is Carl? What is his name? Carl
Weathers.
Is he the one in Rocky?
Yes.
Him, because I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the last question, Keith?
What is this? Surreal hour. What is this?
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I've been a fool, haven't I?
That was the point.
Oh.
Thank you so much, honestly and truly.
That was fun.
Yeah, just a
It
conversation.
made me feel a bit better. I'm hot, I'm sweating, and I'm going to go and cough my lungs up outside. But I've somehow suppressed it for now.
Yeah. We'll take some photos, and once we've done with the show,
they look good.
and then we'll send you. Oh, yeah, see?
Oh, they look
This
great.
is why you do it beforehand.
What was up with you? I was ill.
Okay, thank you. Honestly,
pleasure.
I feel just horrible keeping you another second. So that is it with our time with the illustrious Richard Gervais. I want to thank Corey for sitting in for Sam Levine, Jamie as always, Jaden Fox on makeup. We got the floor director Kenny Chen, and Brad Register up with J Mac and the Crow's Nest. Thank you all. Corey to post-production as well, and Luke Allen, everyone's favorite. I think that's it. That's
Bye!
Yeah, perfect. Until next time, and as always,
Bye!
get out of my face.
Bye!